So, WWE's WrestleMania 42 is probably one of the most unpredictable cards that I can remember for WrestleMania. I remember last year, it was kind of like, oh, WTF are we doing, y'all? I mean, we just turned John Cena heel, so I guess we got to put him with Cody Rhodes. Jey Uso won the Royal Rumble, so I guess he's got to battle Gunther, even though we just had this match on Raw in January, right before the Royal Rumble. And let's see, we've got, we can bring Becky Lynch back. Yeah, we could, y'all. We could do that. We definitely could. I think that's a good move. Let's see. We've got Punk, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. We don't know what to do with them. Let's just put them all in the ring. But I thought we were already having a triple threat match with Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca for night one. Well, let's just do that too. That's what WrestleMania 41 was like. It was definitely like a reset. And I remember Paul Levesque talking about it's the dawn of a new era and everything like that. We've had 3 eras since then, y'all. This WrestleMania 42 worries me, and I think it worries a lot of the people, the executives, and some of the professional wrestlers are probably like, what the fuck is going on? What are we doing here? You know, I think there's a lot of like uncertainty going into WrestleMania 42. A lot of people are worried. People are wondering if the tickets are going to sell out. They're not going down on the ticket prices, and tickets haven't been like extraordinary. They haven't sold out yet. It's because they don't know what to expect. You know, WrestleMania is WrestleMania, and I'm sure they can run a lot of promotion just off the fact that it's WrestleMania. They're doing as much with the Ocean's 12, Ocean's 11 type of videos that they've been doing where they go into casinos and they're all dressed up nice and they're doing voiceovers about playing, you know, poker. But I think at the heart of it all, you've got to have something other than CM Punk and Roman Reigns to go off of for a 2-night spectacle. And I think that a lot of people are not as excited about Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu in the same ring at the same time vying for the WWE Undisputed Championship for night one. I think Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre have exhausted all their resources in singles action already because they've had so many battles in such short time. I think that can get stale really, really fast. I think with Cody Rhodes and Jacob Fatu, I think that's a great, feud potential there. But, I mean, if you don't have a title on the line, what's the point of putting them in the ring? I think they're, right now as I'm recording this, SmackDown is going on. I have no idea what's going on with SmackDown. I don't have the television on. I'm not looking at the results right now. So as this video is being created, I have no idea what's happening on SmackDown right now. Did Sami Zayn win? Did Cody Rhodes and Jacob Fatu cancel each other out and Sami Zayn is going to Elimination Chamber? We're here to talk about this, y'all, because what I think I can do is I can kind of sort of save WrestleMania 42 with a couple of matches. And I'm going to try to stick with it here. I'm going to do a little predicting of the WrestleMania 42 card because it's still so unpredictable. And there's basically only one match that's guaranteed that's going to happen right now. Because I know a lot of people are probably saying, well, Liv Morgan, she's going to be in at WrestleMania. It looks like she's going to wrestle Stephanie Vaquer. But Stephanie Vaquer is not promised to have the WWE Women's Championship by the time WrestleMania rolls around. So that match could change in and of itself as well. I think all things are on the table when we're talking about what's going to happen at WrestleMania 42. We've basically got 2 months to come up with a strong lineup, a strong card that's going to increase ticket sales and get the fans engaged. And I think that's what they need to focus on. So I'm going to focus on it too here in the portal of pro wrestling. By the way, I'm the Wrestling Old Head. Thank you for stopping in. If you're new around here, stay true around here. Go ahead and hit the subscribe and notifications bell. You heard? All right. So WrestleMania 42, let's talk about some of the matches that could potentially happen at WrestleMania 42 to make it feel like a strong card. I'm going to try to stray away from fantasy booking, and I'm going to go with logic here. Okay, logic is going to play a big part in this. Does this make sense? Okay, I'm omitting a lot of people from this card. I'm letting you know that right now. There's a lot of people left off of this card for night one and night two. So it's possible I could be wrong, but maybe I could at least bat over 500. That's the hope. And like I said, I'm going to stray away from fantasy booking here. I'm going to go straight into logic. What makes sense? Does it make sense? Okay, let's talk about it. I'm going to try to stray away from the popular picks. I think a lot of people have this idea of where WrestleMania 42 is going to go. And they have a lot of ideas of what they feel like should be the main events and, things like that, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to try to be as original as I possibly can. I know there's a ton of prediction videos out there trying to predict the WrestleMania 42 card. I haven't looked at them. Okay, this is just, I've been watching the product, and this is what I think would help make WrestleMania 42, would salvage WrestleMania 42, because main events are one thing, but you gotta have an undercard that's strong, okay? You can't just go off of the main events. This ain't 1991 anymore, y'all. This ain't 1992. The fans need to be genuinely entertained and have some investment in what's going on, or they're gonna check out and it's gonna damage the main event. The fans ain't gonna be as loud. And obviously you don't want to burn them out as well, so you don't want to just have dream match after dream match after dream match, because then they're going to be burned out at the end because they're going to be screaming too loud. Either they're going to be bored or they're going to be too loud, so you got to find a balance, y'all. So for the first night, I think I did 6 matches. The second night, I did 7. Obviously, it's probably going to be 5 and 5. That's most realistic, but I'm looking at this roster. I'm looking at all the stories that's going on. Some of this stuff is going to probably end up on Raw or SmackDown. I understand that. I'm cool with all of that. Keep the television shows strong, but at the same time, you've got to make sure that each match has a story to tell. It's got to have a story. So let's break it down like a shotgun. Let's talk about it. So we've already got signed CM Punk against Roman Reigns. They said it's probably going to be one of the biggest main events of all time. They're already putting a ton of pressure on this match, you guys. So hopefully they follow through and they put on some entertaining stuff. But the bar has been set so astronomically high. I think a lot of what happened last year's triple threat match had to do with both's hatred for Seth Rollins. But this story goes back to when CM Punk first came back to the WWE at Survivor Series a couple years back. So the story is already there. Is Paul Heyman going to get involved? That is another aspect of the story as well. But these guys are going off real, genuine animosity. I don't know if they hate each other, but they're playing off some real life stuff, and I think it is translating well. So they have the story hooked for the night 2 main event. I do believe that to be the night 2 main event, but let's talk about night 1. So right now, the current WWE Undisputed Champion is Drew McIntyre going into the Elimination Chamber. I had figured that they would have put Drew McIntyre in the Elimination Chamber and had him defend it there, but they're not going to go in that direction. So now the whole field of Elimination Chamber is up because people want to see, not that they want to see it, but they're expecting to see Jacob Fatu, Cody Rhodes challenge for the Undisputed Championship against Drew McIntyre. But how do you do that? You don't have a double winner at Elimination Chamber. I think that's unheard of. Not to say that that's not going to happen, but that's pretty much unheard of. We have not seen that happen, and I don't know really how you can do it. To be completely honest with you, I don't know how you would be able to do something like that. A non-finish at Elimination Chamber? That sounds insane. That sounds wild, yo. So, what if, and like I said, as I'm recording the SmackDown's going on, I have no idea what's going on SmackDown, you guys. Hand to God, I don't know what's going on. Okay, I'm not watching SmackDown right now. Right now, I'm going to tell you the time. It is 8:58 on the East Coast. I have no idea what's going on. All right, SmackDown basically just came on about an hour ago. So I don't know what's going on. What say you that Sami Zayn wins and Cody Rhodes and Jacob Fatu cross each other out? They are no longer going to the Elimination Chamber. Now that shakes things up really bad because now you don't know who's going to win. We've already got Randy Orton announced for the Elimination Chamber, and then you would have Sami Zayn. So what happens to Cody Rhodes and Jacob Fatu? Well, what if because of this war that goes on and Nick Aldis cannot keep control, he has Drew McIntyre defend at Elimination Chamber against Cody Rhodes and Jacob Fatu in a triple threat match? And what if Cody wins? And that sends Drew McIntyre into snap mode. And then he admits that he was the one that attacked Jacob Fatu. So then Jacob Fatu is super angry and he's trying to go after Drew McIntyre because for a while Drew McIntyre was brushing it off like, I didn't do that. But what if he's so angry that this match happened and they lost his Undisputed Championship this quick that he's like, yeah, I did it and I'll do it again. So now you've got Drew McIntyre and you've got Jacob Fatu at WrestleMania. And I think it would be a great match. And you've had a preview and you've had a build-up and you've had a big reveal. So what happens to Cody? Cody's now the Undisputed Champion again. Who's he going to face? Well, he's going to face the winner of the Elimination Chamber. And I don't think it's going to be Sami Zayn. What if it's Randy Orton? What if it's Randy? Now, obviously, you can switch this idea. You can have Randy Orton as the guy that attacked Jacob Fatu and have Randy Orton against Jacob Fatu at WrestleMania. then you can go the Cody Rhodes against Drew McIntyre route. I think that is another route you can go. But as I stated at the beginning of this video, we have seen Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre so many times over the last, 5 or 6 months already, that I don't know how excited people would be for that, unless it's something like a last man standing match, an I Quit match, even a Hell in a Cell. I think that would provide some interest, considering they just had a 3 stages of Hell that ended in a cage match. I think it's possible that you can go Hell in a Cell with this one. I also think that you can do something like a last man standing match, and that would get fans interested as well. So you can still do that, but I'm going to switch it around, and I'm going to go Cody Rhodes against Randy Orton, and then I'm going to go Drew McIntyre against Jacob Fatu. Now let's fill out the rest of the card. Now, these can be in night 1 or night 2. This is just some idea of some of the matches, just to kind of keep this brief. I don't want to keep you guys too long in this video. Obviously, El Grande Americano has been on fire, and I'm talking about the Kaiser version, obviously, the Kaiser Americano, the Kaiser roll, the El Grande Americano Kaiser roll. The OG Americano has returned, and there's been a lot of tease with the pulling of the mask. Now, obviously, that's a match that you would expect to see in AAA, which they can still play up and do, but a mask versus mask match between the two Americanos at WrestleMania, I think, would be huge business, because people would be curious, who are they going to determine, and what if OG Americano wins and pulls the mask off and Ludwig Kaiser is behind the mask, or what if it's not Ludwig Kaiser behind the mask? What if they find somebody else, a decoy, for instance? What if maybe El Grande Americano goes under the ring, or one of the brothers on Chad Gable's stable, I forget their names, but what if they go under the ring and come back out, and then they lose the match, and then they're unmasked and it reveals to be them? I think they can go with a lot of different directions to keep the Americano story going, but I think this would be a great spectacle, and I think it would get fans really interested, because the Americano gimmick is mad over right now on both sides. So I would go with that. I would go El Grande Americano against OG El Grande Americano in a mask versus mask match. Finn Balor against Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship. They've been teasing this match for like 3 years already. It's time to go. It's time to hit the button on this one, guys. It's time. I heard a lot of people saying, whoa, Dominic and Rey Mysterio. Well, obviously, we want to see the father-son match at WrestleMania, but here's the thing. That type of match, I'm going to be honest with you guys, that's a match for AAA. That's where the money's at for that company. They just acquired that company. They want to sell stuff out. And by doing that, they can have Rey Mysterio against Dominic as a headliner at AAA and tear the roof off that place, especially if it's a career versus hair match or something along those lines. So I'm going to go with Dominic Mysterio against Finn Balor. I'm also going to go with Rey Mysterio against Gunther, because Gunther is a career killer. And Rey Mysterio Jr. just keeps getting injured. It's like every time he comes back from an injury, he goes right back out again and sits down because he's hurt. So I think the story that you can tell there is that Gunther's been bullying around some of his friends, like Dragon Lee. He's been bullying Dragon Lee. So now it's Rey can stick up for that and be the veteran and maybe put his career on the line. We might see the retirement of Rey Mysterio Jr. And again, I think it's going to be a soft retirement for Rey Mysterio. I think he's going to go off into the sunset in the WWE and maybe play a manager or something like that for some of his boys. And then I think you can put Rey Mysterio in AAA and really focus on AAA, because I can see Rey transitioning into a lot of creative stuff with AAA, maybe a coaching role, maybe an authority figure as well. I think they can go a lot of different directions with Rey there, and then you get him off WWE TV. He can always make his return and come back, but you can focus this Gunther in a situation where now he's retiring somebody. You don't have to pull the trigger on guys like a Brock Lesnar right now. You can hold off on that and keep that going. You can let that stuff simmer. So then you can say that Gunther took Rey Mysterio Jr. out, AJ Styles, John Cena, and Goldberg. He took an ambassador from AAA and Rey Mysterio Jr. He took a TNA franchise like AJ Styles out. He took the franchise of WCW and Goldberg out. And he took the newest franchise of the Ruthless Aggression era, the Legend of John Cena, out. Talk about a list of some of the best on some people's Mount Rushmores. So I think you go Rey Mysterio Jr. against Gunther. I think they tell a fantastic story in the ring. It would be very compelling, especially considering it's in Vegas, which is not that far from California, where Rey Mysterio cut his teeth in the business, and it's not that far from Mexico either. You want to sell tickets out, you do something like that, you guys, and let's keep it going. So Brock Lesnar. Where's Brock Lesnar going to go from here? Now, if you look at it, LA Knight has come back. He's made the Vision's life a living hell. The Vision is not the way that we thought the Vision was going to be. Possibly because of the injuries of Seth Rollins. Definitely because of the injury of Braun Breaker. And who knows when those two are going to come back. So I'm going to move on with these predictions, assuming that I don't know when these guys are coming back and that they're probably not going to make WrestleMania. So you're not going to hear that they're on the card. So what does Brock Lesnar do? Well, Brock Lesnar has come out a lot with Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman can call in a favor and he can say, I need you to get rid of this guy who's been making my life and the Vision's life a living hell in LA Knight. Teach LA Knight a lesson. Do I think LA Knight could win that match? Abso-fucking-lutely not. But he can show balls. He can show how big his balls are, and he can really push Brock Lesnar to the limit. But I think Brock wins this because you want to keep him strong going into his eventual match with Gunther. And I know that's not a popular decision there. A lot of people are sick and tired of Brock Lesnar for personal and professional reasons, and I get it. I understand where you're coming from. But LA Knight against Brock Lesnar is blockbuster. And it really establishes that LA Knight is good enough to be in the ring with some. I mean, Brock Lesnar doesn't get in the ring with anybody, guys. He doesn't get in the ring with just anybody. It's a reason for it. And it really makes the other guy to just be in the presence of Brock Lesnar, even in a beatdown. Trust me on this. Trust me when I say this. I know LA Knight has been taking L after L after L, but the story of him going after the Vision, getting in their heads, and Paul Heyman out of nowhere just drops a U-bomb, just drops an atomic bomb on LA Knight, I think it's money. And I'd like to see that. Now, the rest of the Vision, Logan Paul, Bronson Reed, and Austin Theory, what are they going to do? Well, if you've been paying attention to the internets, the interwebs like X and everything like that, you've seen that Logan Paul and Bad Bunny have been having some spats back and forth. Now, you know, Bad Bunny is from Puerto Rico, and Logan Paul currently resides in Puerto Rico. Okay, and Bad Bunny had a halftime performance that Logan Paul attended the Super Bowl, and when they asked him about the Bad Bunny performance, he basically shot it down like, I'm not here for that. Now, there's been rumor and innuendo saying that Bad Bunny might be returning to the WWE. What more blockbuster can you get than Bad Bunny against Logan Paul? But you want to protect Bad Bunny here. You don't want to overexpose him. You want to give him that Jelly Roll treatment, you know, where Jelly Roll was protected because he was in there with some veterans. So what you do is you make it a triple threat. You can go with Logan Paul, Bronson Reed, and Austin Theory on one side, and on the other side, you can go Bad Bunny, Penta, and Dragon Lee. Okay? Or you can remove Dragon Lee and you can insert Rey Fenix. You can reunite the Lucha Brothers and have them help out Bad Bunny. That six-man tag can be huge for all parties involved, but the celebrity factor of Bad Bunny and Logan Paul being in the same ring, albeit just for a couple of special moments, would make headline news. This is what WrestleMania 42, this is what WrestleMania as a brand is really all about. It's about these moments, about celebrity involvement and about grabbing the headlines. This would be a headliner. And you've got fantastic performers in Penta and Dragon Lee, or in Penta and Rey Fenix against guys like Bronson Reed, the athleticism of Logan Paul and Austin Theory. I just think it works out. I would like to see that. Now we're going to move on to Liv Morgan against Stephanie Vaquer. Like, I could go Liv Morgan against Rhea Ripley. I'm not going to go too far into the fantasy booking side because at this very moment, I just don't see that it's happening. So I'm going to go with logic here, and I'm going to stay with Stephanie Vaquer here. I think Stephanie Vaquer and Liv Morgan, they have a match, and I think they tear the house down genuinely. I think it would be a great match. I really do. I don't know if it's main event worthy for night one, but I think they would have a phenomenal match. So I'm going to stick with that as the plan. With Jade Cargill, let's say, for shits and giggles here, that Bianca Belair isn't ready. I'm going to go with the assumption that she's not ready and she doesn't show up in competitive form at WrestleMania 42. Not to say that she won't show up and maybe cost Jade the match here. So who is it that we can slot in the place of Bianca Belair that would make total sense? Now, you can go with Charlotte Flair. They have been teasing a matchup for a while now. I think they could tell a great story. I think that match would work. that match would work. There's a lot of similarities in dominance between Jade Cargill and Charlotte Flair. I think that could work. Or you can go with Tiffany Stratton. And because I already have Charlotte Flair penciled into another match, I am going to personally go with Tiff. I think Tiffany Stratton is looking for her revenge, and she wins the Elimination Chamber and challenges Jade Cargill. And it makes a whole lot of sense. They had a pretty great match, probably one of Jade Cargill's best matches in the WWE, right before Tiffany Stratton went off into the sunset. I think Tiffany needs her revenge, and I think there's a story in that. So I'm going to go with Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill. For Oba Femi, I know a lot of people are wondering, Oba Femi, what is going to happen with Oba Femi? I think we do Oba Femi and Damian Priest at WrestleMania. I really do. I think that we're on the cusp of seeing a darker side of Damian Priest. I don't know if he's going to turn heel. I really don't. But I think we're going to see him snap. And I think because he snaps, and because he's trying to posture himself as someone that's really dominant in the WWE and get that attitude back, I think Oba Femi would be the perfect opponent for him at WrestleMania. And hear me out, because Oba Femi, a lot of people want to hotshot and skyrocket him to a match with Brock Lesnar. That requires build. I respect that match so much that I don't know if I trust WWE Creative to just hotshot Oba Femi to the top of the card without proper build. Right now, the crowd is behind him and they enjoy him, but they don't know who the fuck he is. So they need to establish an emotional connection with Oba Femi. And I think before we have Brock Lesnar terrorize him for 8 minutes before Oba slips out and gets the win, I think we need a build. And I think you start the build by putting him against Damian Priest at WrestleMania. It gives something for Damian Priest to do. You know, he wants to be able to slay dragons. What bigger dragon is there than Oba Femi right now? He's beating up the War Raiders. He's beating up toxic masculinity. He's beaten up so many people that I think you continue that war path, and I think Damian Priest gets in the way. So I'm going to go with Damian Priest and Oba Femi here. And finally, the women's tag team division is as hot as it's ever been. So who do you decide is going to wrestle the tag champions, which at this very moment is Rhea Ripley and Io Sky? You put them all in the same ring at the same time in a ladder match. This is it. They've done that before with the men's division. I think it was in WrestleMania 40. I think you do that for the women this year. And I think you do Asuka and Kairi Sane, Bayley and Lyra, Charlotte and Alexa, Nia and Lash Legend, and Julia and Kiana James. I think you go a 6 tag team women's ladder match to crown the tag team champions. And I think it would be very exciting. And then obviously the omitted from this is AJ Lee and Becky Lynch. It looks like they're going to be wrestling at Elimination Chamber. I think it's potential that you could get a tag match at WrestleMania where it's Becky and Natty against AJ Lee and Maxine Dupree. I think that is definitely possible. I could definitely see something like that happening. But instead of WrestleMania, I think that match would be more than likely going to happen on a Raw somewhere. I think you can position that on Raw. You can even do something like that for Saturday night's main event. But as far as WrestleMania goes, you don't need Becky Lynch and AJ Lee if you're going to do that for Elimination Chamber, unless they've got something down the tailpipe and they want to do a rematch at some point. But that's what I got, you guys. That is my predictions. I'm trying to be as logical and real about this card as possible. Never before has this been the most unexpected, unpredictable pay-per-view build for WrestleMania. I'm sure there is some that I can't remember off the top of my head. It's been so long. But I think one of the biggest things that's derailing and causing the WWE to pivot is injuries. So many wrestlers have been injured. I bet you the original card was so fire, y'all. I bet you it was a super fire WrestleMania 42, but since they don't have the performers that they need, they have to pivot. And in my opinion, what I just presented to you guys is probably one of the better ideas as far as pivoting and making things interested and letting stories progress and run along and getting fans emotionally invested. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think of this idea that I have for the WrestleMania 42 card? And what do you predict for the WrestleMania 42 Night 1 and Night 2 events? You guys let me know down in the comment section below. And again, if you like this video and more, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you are always aware when I drop out of the portal of pro wrestling to drop you with some hotness. Guys, it's the Wrestling Old Head. Stay tuned for more.